Arlene?
But only thing is these days, a lot of new things are happening. Everyone is engaging into webinar, whether it's government, semi-government. That's the only way to get connected. So, and also it's our year end, so we need to work for the next year's business plan also. So all these things.
Sir, can you keep your laptop a bit near, because so that voice may be a bit louder?
Okay. Hello.
Yeah.
Is it okay now?
Yeah, that's fine now.
I'll increase my
Yeah, you can increase the volume maybe.
Hello.
Yeah.
It's better?
Yeah, slightly better.
Let me try. Otherwise, I don't prefer headphones, but then I can try this.
Yeah, maybe if you got microphone, that will be better.
I'll try. Doctor, you need to check your this system, because I checked, cross-check with my colleagues here.
Yeah.
They are getting the right audio.
Yeah, he will just check the volume. So at present, sir, you are managing director of Zydus Animal Health and Investments, right? Hello, can you hear me, sir?
Hello.
Yeah, can you hear me, sir?
Very loud and clear.
Okay, same here. Now it's better.
Okay.
So just a couple of minutes more and then we'll start. Maybe 5 minutes more.
Sure.
Volume देखिए पूरी volume देखिए ठीक है ठीक है सर या ठीक है थैंक यू ओके सर इतने रहेंगे हाँ जी मैं नहीं कोई बात Sir, just one question. In which year did you complete your professional BVSC and age?
81, I completed my BVSC.
Okay, that's good, because it is meant, yeah, 81. And Masters in Business Administration in 1985?
83.
83. And from 83 to 85?
Then 84, I was with 84, 85, I was with the ABC, Khao Gagan, Raho Magan,
Okay.
So I was with Consumer Products, and then from 85, I joined Cadila.
Okay, yeah, I know. From 85 onwards, I know. And which was your college in BVSC?
Pantnagar.
Pantnagar. That's great. Okay, good to know. So I think we can start. It is maybe 3 minutes more because we have given it time 3:30.
Yeah, we'll try to finish by 4:30 if possible, because
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. 1 hour is good enough. Yeah.
we have another meeting of FSSAI today. So
Okay. Okay. Then I can start right now.
I think that's better.
Okay. Good evening, guys. It's my pleasure and honor to introduce to you an eminent veterinarian and leader in pharmaceutical industry in India, Dr. Arun Atrey. Well, before his before his webinar starts, there is a lesson for all of us here to think out of the box. Well, this man, Dr. Arun Atrey, he completed his BVSc and AH in 1981, and then at that time 40 years 39 years back, he thought of combining his technical professional veterinary skills with marketing management skills. Nobody could dream even at that time that veterinary could be combined with management. Okay, so he pursued his master's in business administration, and he completed his MBA in 1983. So there's a lesson that think out of the box, see in yourself what others cannot see. He 39 years back saw in himself what others could not see. He combined professional veterinary skills with management skills, and the result is here for all of us to see. He is among the topmost in pharmaceutical industry at present. And just to briefly introduce him, after completing his master's in business administration, he joined in 1985 Kedla Veterinary as a product executive. And then in 1986, he became head of marketing in Kedla. And then in 1995, he became the head of strategic business unit in Kedla. Then in 1999, he became chief operating officer and director of Zydus Agrovet. Okay, and then in 2003, he became the chief operating officer of joint venture company Sarabai Zydus Animal Health. And since 2013, he has been working as a managing director of Zydus Animal Health and Investments. And Zydus company is a company which has introduced maximum number of firsts into the Indian veterinary market, around 200 products, antibiotics, anti-inflammatories, analgesics, intramammary. You talk of anything, Kedla has got it there. And he is the head of that company, Zydus Animal Health and Investments. And all these products are the result of, they have got an R&D unit of around 400 scientists, and he's heading R&D unit as well. So just a couple of his achievements. And then Dr. Atrey, he is also active member of various animal health industry bodies, and he is chairman of INFA, the Indian Federation for Animal Health Industries. He has been chairman from 2015 to 2017, and at present he is the chairman of Therapeutic and Disinfectant Subcommittee of INFA. And he has been awarded in 2018 with the best chief executive officer in the poultry industry, okay, by the Poultry Forum Group. And he's a regular speaker at the Industry Chief Executive Officers Forum, as well as Management and Veterinary Institutes. So I won't take much time standing between you and Dr. Atrey, and you can hear his views and you can ask few questions towards the end. So it's all over to you, Dr. Atrey, please. Dr. Atrey.
Thank you, Dr. Simrit, for a very warm welcome and a very enlightening introduction. Welcome, dear students, and it's been my pleasure to talk to you, share my experience of the animal health industry and otherwise. I would agree with Dr. Simrit. When I thought of doing my master's in business administration in 81, I was doing my master's in surgery, in fact, after completing my graduation. So I didn't know why did I go for MBA at that point of time. because I got selected in Public Service Commission. I was already doing my master's in surgery. Then somehow I thought that I must be doing something very different. And when I talked to my father, who was not very happy about my decision, because that was the time when people used to think that a gazetted position is a very, very important position. And having been selected in a Public Service Commission position, so obviously, if you delay, you become much junior, even if you decide to join after a few years. I told my father that I don't know whether I'm doing the right thing or wrong thing, but I think that at one point of time in my life, I might regret for having not availed this opportunity. And I did my management, and of course, I worked with the consumer product industry. Fortunately, I got opportunity to join Cadila. Cadila was already there in the animal health business for the last 6 years, but they weren't doing very well till then. And 2016, then this business was handed over to me, and we have built this business right from the scratch. And this year we shall be clocking around 600 crore turnover, and we are already the number 2 in India. And we have been honored with many such awards by the national as well as the international bodies. The credit goes to my entire team. I'm no one alone who can deliver all this. We have a very good team to contribute for all this, and we are also backed by a very strong R&D and formulation and development center, which help us identifying the newer molecules. We work for the newer molecules to bring new therapies to strengthen the veterinarians in the field, so that their treatment become far more effective. And as a result, many of the new molecules we have been able to introduce in the industry in the last 25 years or so. But that's not the end. When I look at veterinary, I talk to the students across the country. Many times we became victims of our own thoughts. Especially after doing veterinary, we start feeling that this is one particular line only is reserved for us. But believe me, if I have to rate the new professions, with the due regards to all the professions, whether it is medical or dental or you are into chartered accountancy or any other profession, perhaps the most promising profession today is a veterinary. And I would show you how this is going to be a very, very promising profession. But when the things change, we also need to change new skills. We also need to acquire new skills. We also need to do multitasking. And therefore, while this scientific background definitely is going to help us, there are many more avenues which are available for us. And of course, if you have to run a marathon, you have to decide your pace in the beginning. You may not get into the maximum speed right in the beginning. You may have to pick up, but before that, you need to have a vision. You need to have a passion that what exactly you want to do. So there is nothing, there is no wrong or right line. It's only if your passion is not there, then this is a wrong line. If you are passionate, every line is a good line. And I can cite you examples of the people, those who left their core, areas of degrees, moved to altogether very different lines. And they excelled and they did extremely well in those areas. So I think what is more important is, during our time, we didn't know actually, because we were all dependent upon the guidance of our parents, and our only Google was the parents. Today you are very fortunate having been exposed to so much of information around, and with that information, there is a lot more opportunity which is available for all of you, according to your likings, according to your passion, according to the things what you think should be appropriate for you. You can decide your life. Don't try to follow each other, because every individual is different, every human being is different. But we must understand one thing, that we are in a science industry, and this science only is going to take us forward, and this science is only going to benefit us, benefit the society, benefit the country, and benefit the world. So that is our core area. That is our core strength. And I think each one of us must ask this question to himself or herself, that what value I can add. Because if you want to get out of the very routine type of working, you want to do something extraordinary, then obviously you'll have to put extraordinary efforts. With ordinary efforts, no one can do extraordinary. Everyone wants to achieve something in life, but that's your intent. But if you have that vision can only be achieved if we combine our energy and passion and build our skills. And when you put all these things together, then the miracles do happen. So forget about your background. Somebody came from ordinary school, somebody came from convent, or somebody came from a very rich family or a middle class family, or whatever it may be. It makes no difference. The difference would be made by your own thinking. You are what your mind is. What you think, you would become. So you need to train your mind, that how we need to move forward in the life. So with this, I won't take much time on this. I will start my formal presentation, and during the course of my presentation, I'll try to explain that what an exciting career you people are. What difference a veterinarian can make to the society, to the country. So, would you allow me? Just a minute.
If you're energetic, you should always go for private sector. Practice is right, very right. With ordinary thinking, you cannot be extraordinary.
Is it visible?
Yeah.
Okay. So my today's actually conversation with you or interaction with you is regarding the career opportunities for vets in pharmaceutical industry. But I don't want to stop here only in the pharmaceutical industry. I just want to give you an overview, maybe at the cost of repetition, because many of the things you might already be knowing. But it is very important that we also understand that holistically, how a veterinarian can build his career across industries. So my presentation would run around 4 major points: the overview of the animal husbandry in India, animal healthcare at a glance. I would briefly talk about the global as well as the Indian animal healthcare industry, the career opportunities for the veterinarians, and I also would like to introduce the organization where I work. So if you look at, we are number 1 in the world as far as the buffalo population is concerned, and we are number 2 in the world for the cattle population. And we also take pride that we are number 1 in the world in terms of the milk production. But when you look at the average yield per animal, it's even the crossbred average comes to around 7.95 kg or around 8 kg, and the indigenous is around 3 kg. And the per capita availability of the milk is only 394 grams per day, against US has a per capita availability of around 698 grams, EU has 685 grams. So even if we are number one in the world, our per capita availability is almost half of what Europe is getting or what US is getting. So that shows that even we have a large cattle population, we have a large buffalo population. There is a tremendous scope for us to increase this population, increase the productivity of our animals. Then of course we are second in goat and we are third in the sheep. But another very big industry is a poultry industry. We are fifth in the world in the poultry population. And if you look at the egg production, we are third in the egg production. And but our per capita availability of eggs is only 79 eggs per year. And when you compare it to the globe, it's 259 eggs per year. And China is 23 kg, you can multiply it by say 20 or so. So almost 460 is China, and Japan could be another 400. So and even if you go to the poultry meat also, it's around 2.45 kg per annum against the US of 50 kg and the globe average of 23 kg. When you talk about the globe, you talk about all the countries, developed, underdeveloped countries. And even if we are number fifth in the world in the poultry population, our per capita consumption of eggs is still very, very low. In fact, I have carried out 2 market research on egg eating behavior of people in Gujarat. In the country, we have 2 states, Haryana and Gujarat, which are supposedly the vegetarian states, where the egg consumption is very, very low. But even in the state like Gujarat, where we conducted 2 different researches during different times, one with the students of IIM Ahmedabad and one with the BK School of Management. What we found is that whereas the elderly population or the parents were not eating eggs, or they were not in favor of eating eggs, the children were eating. Now, when these people they take over, obviously the egg consumption is going to go up. So country may not become from vegetarian to non-vegetarian entirely, but it is definitely becoming from non-vegetarian to vegetarian. So that clearly shows that this industry is also bound to grow. Now, why do I give these examples of the dairy industry and the poultry industry? Because as the population increases, as the productivity of the animal increases, as the consumption of milk and the egg or the meat increases, so would be the requirement of the animals, so would be the requirement of the high breed animals. And if you have such population, highly productive animals, then obviously you need more veterinary care. And this veterinary care can only be provided by none other than the veterinarians. So if you look at where we are today, we are just in a nascent stage. We have still a lot of things to do in the country. And when you talk about the prosperity in a country, if we are not at par with even the best, the developing nations and all in terms of our consumption, I don't think we are fulfilling the nutritional needs of our people. So I think this should give you some comfort. This should give you some confidence that this industry is only bound to grow in one direction, and that is forward. So, PAU, your current veterinary college, was part of Agriculture University, till few years back, right? And every time we would say agriculture is a very big, the segment of economy. Of course, it is. But if you look at today, the agriculture growth is driven by the animal husbandry only. Today, the contribution of animal husbandry to the Indian economy is around 4.9%. And to the agriculture, animal husbandry is contributing around 28.4%. 20 years back, the contribution of animal husbandry used to be around 19%. And from 19%, it has moved to 28.4%. And if you look at livestock as a segment, it is one of the fastest growing segment. On the right side, if you look at the bar, the first one is of crop. The CAGR of crops is only 1.4%. So that means agriculture per se is not growing as fast as the livestock sector. Livestock is growing by almost 8.2%. Manufacturing is close 8.3%. In fact, this is the data till last year. After pandemic, things might have got change of manufacturing. It has further gone down, and services is around 7.7%. So out of all the segments, if you look at, animal husbandry is the one of the fastest growing segment. So the agriculture growth is basically driven by animal husbandry. And today's animal husbandry market is worth around $54 billion, right? And it is projected to become $106 billion by 2024. And in terms of milk, you might feel that, paddy is, the contribution is highest in agriculture, or wheat's contribution is highest in the agriculture. Again, on the right side, if you see, the contribution of milk is the highest. Milk, in fact, is almost adding 10 lakh crores, out of which 7 lakh crore is basically contributed by the raw milk. Whereas paddy or the wheat are much smaller in terms of their contribution. So the largest agriculture produced today if in the country is milk, is not wheat or paddy. So what are the growth potential of animal health sector? Because it is very important for all of you to understand, first of all, that why this veterinary has a future. Why we think that veterinary is going to see the bright period, which it has yet to see. In the 2019, last year, when the new government at the center took over, a new ministry was created of fisheries, animal husbandry and dairying. Till 2018, animal husbandry was a department of Ministry of Agriculture. But then it was realized that if we have to double the farmer's income, that the only way we can increase the farmer's income is by way of improving animal husbandry services in India, be that fisheries, dairying, or the animal husbandry per se. And that's how the government decided to start a new ministry in the year 2019. In fact, so much importance was given to this one decision that the new central government, when they took over in 2019, in the very first cabinet meeting, this decision was taken. So you can understand. And I would also like to share one incident, like we hear many cases of farmer suicide in the country. Very sad thing it's happening. And this is not a new finding. This has been a finding for the last so many years, even when the previous government, Congress government was there, and we had Minister Sharad Pawar was the Minister of Agriculture. Even before that, it has been found that the farmers, those who have their dairy cattle or the milk cattle with them, they are not the one those who would commit suicide. It's only the farmers, those who do not have the animals, and if their crop fails and they are under so much of deep debt that they have to take such an unfortunate step. So they also realize that it is very important to build livestock as a backup industry in the rural sector. So what the government is going to do, the most important thing, I just shared it with you, that our animals are not very productive. So the very important thing is to improve the breeds. So how the productivity can be improved, because today if you look at the the total produce, like in the dairy sector, it's around 1862 kg per year, which is to be taken to the 4,000 by 2025. The time is too short, and obviously a lot of work needs to be done for the breed improvement. In the year 2019, to help improve the local breeds, around 12 million bovines were covered under the National Artificial Insemination Scheme in the 600 districts. And now they are planning to expand to the entire breedable bovine population. Government also launched another disease eradication program, and almost 12,652 crore was allocated for FMD and brucellosis. And I'm sure many of you might have heard it, but once you go into the field, you would realize that these diseases are causing havoc in the the industry. They bring a lot of losses to the the animal health sector. And the government decided that they want to completely eradicate these two diseases. And for that, the entire population needs to be covered. And in the very first year, out of this almost 13,000 crore, 1,300 crore has been allocated for the year 2020. When you have more number of animals, how do you make feed and fodder available for them? Like you might have seen, you might have come from the different cities to Ludhiana or any other city, if any student from other places have also joined. Because of urbanization, our land is shrinking, our agriculture land is shrinking, and there is a less and less land available for the feed and fodder. So the government has this, the task cut for them, that how do we increase the availability of feed and fodder by almost 1.5 times. And not only that, because milk being a perishable commodity, we need to improve the processing capacity from 53.5 million metric tons to 108 million metric tons. Because if you produce more milk, obviously then the milk needs to be processed. Then only it can be stored. And one very interesting, factor is value-added milk products. You might have heard that, the farmers are not getting remunerative prices in the milk. Sometimes there is a more production, less consumption. It is happening because we have still not started investing into the value-added products. In the name of the value-added products, we would know the cottage cheese or lassi or curd or sweets, but there are so many things which can be produced out of the value-added products. And these are the once you get into the value-added products and people start paying for it, there would be more demand for the milk, and obviously the milk prices would be far more remunerative for the farmers. And if you look at the globe, almost 60 to 70% of the milk is actually being used as a value-added product, not a raw milk. And that's why the farmers are able to get better prices. This is happening in India, but it's happening slowly, and I'm sure it is going to happen. There are many countries around India, those who have been deficient in milk. And our current export share is very, very less. It is around 0.36%. The plan is to take it to the 10%, so that we can export more and more milk to the world. So if you look at the entire value chain is like you have low producing cattle, you want to improve, make them high producing cattle. So you need to go for the crossbreeding programs, improve the breed improvements. Then our animals, they suffer from certain diseases like FMD and brucellosis and all. So the government is putting a lot of money into this. So how to eradicate, how to contain such diseases. Now, if your animals start producing more, then they are making a facility for the processing. And also the consumption, the impact is more on the consumption. You might have seen during pandemic, and you might have appreciated also, that while during pandemic, many things were not available in the country, but milk was one such commodity which was amply available without any disruption. So that is the infrastructure today we have in the country. So this is how, and we have also seen many people actually became, those who are taking other non-vegetarian also. Many of these people, they started consuming more and more milk, assuming that the benefits of the milk they understand in terms of improving the immunity. So these are this is a growth potential factors. What I thought I must share it with you. So if you look at the growth drivers, now these are the major three industries I can look at. One is the dairy, second is poultry, and third is companion animal. Now I am purely talking about from the pharmaceuticals point of view. I'm not bringing here in terms of research, in terms of education, another area. Dairy I have covered more or less that it is a very large industry. 10 lakh crore is the industry, and it has grown by almost 12% in the last 5 years. The focus is more on the value-added products. But poultry is another very organized sector. When I was doing my veterinary, believe me, I never thought that poultry could be a lucrative area to work in. We thought a veterinarian only can work in the large animals, or he can only work for the companion animal. But when I came to the industry, I realized that one of the most celebrated consultant, if you find, they are in the poultry industry. There are two industries in India, IT industry and the poultry industry, which have flourished without the support of the government. Most of the government programs, if you look at, they are for the dairy, they could be for some area, could be for piggery or goats or sheep, but hardly any for the poultry. So the poultry has actually established on its own. And it's a very organized sector. And that's why I say it's comparable with the IT sector. And it is not a small industry today. It is adding almost 1% of the India's GDP. Its total worth is around 1 lakh crore today of the poultry industry. But as I told you, that consumption is very low, and still we have far more potential to grow. Even ICMR's recommendation is that per capita consumption should be around 180 eggs. So if I compare with what are the local factor, forget about the world, even the ICMR's recommendation is also 180 eggs, whereas we produce only 79 eggs. Slowly, the share of the poultry meat is also increasing. So if you look at these two sectors, dairy and the poultry, so dairy is adding, almost with 10 lakh crore and 4% to the total GDP. This 1% gets added of the poultry also. So the poultry is, dairy and poultry are the two industries which are driving the animal husbandry services in India. Now the third area is a companion animal. I would come to this. I will explain to you more on the companion animal. That in companion animal, we are very, very nascent stage actually. We have just started. Though it's growing, now for the last 15, 20 years I have been seeing, and now you also see that people have started using pet food also. There was a time that people used to think that whatever you make at home, the same can be fed to the dogs. And on the lighter side, I would like to crack a joke also. Now it looks like a joke because when we were very young, the only way to select a good dog used to be, it should have erect pinnas, some 20 nails, straight tail. And if all these three factors are, met, it's a good dog. We didn't know much about the breeds. But today, even a city like Ahmedabad, where my company's headquarters is, and it's a hot area, you would find St. Bernards, you would find Collies. People have started investing like anything. And there is so much of knowledge about the breeds today, about the companion animals, which was not there 20, 25 years before. Maybe we had joint family system. We never thought the need of the dogs. Now the families are becoming nuclear, families are becoming smaller. So there are emotional needs, there are security needs, and also there are what we call it as a conspicuous consumption. Conspicuous consumption is a status thing. Many people would like to keep a dog, not because they actually need it, but because they feel that it's a status thing. So the reasons could be any. This segment is going to grow much faster. And today we are seeing that almost, whereas dairy or poultry are growing by 9 to 10%, of course, their base is very big. This industry is almost growing by almost 25 to 30%. So this is one such area where I think you would see a lot of growth happening in the companion animal. Now we have a very big dream in India that we want to make it, as a big country where per capita consumption of our citizens also is very good, both in terms of eggs or milk. But if you look at the infrastructure, we have only around 8,000 veterinarians registered, right? Now, out of these 68,000, there could be many people, those who are into academics. Some people might have got retired. Some people might be working in some other administrative area. With almost 68,000 people, where almost 10-15% could be in other areas, they have to handle almost 65,000 of veterinary hospitals, polyclinics, dispensaries, and the aid centers. So the one very surprising thing today we see in the country, that while we have very ambitious plan, we want to get into the precision dairy farming also. We want to build a very robust plan for dairy, poultry, companion animal and all. But when you look at the infrastructure, I think far more is required to be done by the state government. During all my presentation across to the industry or to the government, we say that we need far more number of veterinarians actually today than what we have in the country. But this is not to tell you that, wait for the government jobs. I'm not saying that. What I'm only saying is that this is the need of the country. This is the need of the country. We need more hospitals, which should be, because unless there are veterinarians available, there are hospitals available, who is going to take care of the health of the animals around? And not only that, today it is not a question of only taking care of the animals' health, also to guide farmers for producing the healthy product, be that milk or egg. How is that going to happen? FSSI is already working on setting the maximum residual limits for the milk or the meat or the eggs and all. Who is going to guide the farmers? So we may need more veterinary nutritionists also, not only the veterinary clinicians, but the veterinary nutritionist also. We have around 47 veterinary colleges. So my only point here is that if you look at, we don't have enough veterinarians in the country today. But it's not only the number of veterinarians which is important. Equally important is we need to build more number of veterinary hospital, diagnostic centers, and most of our veterinarians have to work with in the different hospital without any diagnostic facilities, nearby diagnostic facilities. And how many villages we have? We have more than 600,000 villages in the country. So 600,000 villages and only 67,000 veterinarians. To handle what livestock population? Almost 500 million plus livestock population. So it is grossly inadequate. And unless we have more number of such facilities and all, our dream of realizing that we shall be producing more milk and helping improve the productivity of the animals, and I think such our plans may not fructify till we have the right type of infrastructure. So this is also to tell you, all my dear friends and students, that government eventually will have to seriously think about it, that how such infrastructure can be strengthened if they have to realize the dream for the livestock. And without development of the livestock, there is no future of the country also. Please remember this. Because you have 69% of the population in the rural area. Land cannot be increased for the crop. Population is increasing. And if you have to improve your rural employment, the only way to improve rural employment is to make sure that people remain dependent upon more of the livestock areas, be that even if it is a fisheries or beekeeping even, or dairy farming or the poultry farming. That's what is very, very important. So I don't see any option there. This is a must, and eventually we may have to do this. If you look at the global, now coming to the healthcare industry, globally, the healthcare industry is around $33 billion as of now. But it is growing in the last 5 years by almost 2% only, because they have already reached a stage of maturity in most of the countries, because the population is very stagnant in Europe or other countries and all. It's not growing the way it's growing in China or in India. So the population is stagnant, more of the aging population. So the healthcare industry is growing by almost a CAGR of 2%. But if you look at the Southeast Asia, especially the Asia Pacific, it's growing by 7%. And China is leading with a CAGR of 13% in the last 16 years. But against $32 billion, our Indian industry is around 5,300 crores. So if I convert it into dollars, it should be around $720 million. Or you can say around 2.2% of the global health industry. So that also shows that we are still, even when we are number one in the world in the milk production, number 3 or 5 in ag and the meat production. Still, we are just 2.2% of the healthcare industry globally. But it's been growing by almost 10.5%. And in India, if you look at the animal health industry and look at the species-wise share, it's largely attributed to livestock, which is 53%, followed by poultry, 33%. Companion animals are around 8%. Some studies say 5%. Some studies say 8%. And others are around 51.4 in terms of value, but 1% to the total pie. And in terms of the product segment, if you look at, nutrition is the largest segment. And of course, animal might fall sick for a few days, but it needs nutrition throughout the year. So it is 39% of the total market is of nutrition, followed by parasiticides. And now the parasiticides would be required more, because once you get into the vaccination of FMD and all, normally deworming is also to be carried out for all the animals. So parasiticides are around 20%. Then the antibiotics around 17%. So these are the large segments. Biologicals, both poultry and the livestock, they contribute another 13%. So largely our, in terms of species, livestock is the number one and followed by poultry. And in terms of the product segments, nutrition is number one, then followed by parasiticides. When I compare, the globe with India, where do we stand? The upper circle is of globe and the lower circle is of India. So if you look at the globally, its market is dominated by almost 10 companies globally, which cover around 80% of the total market share. And most of the time, there's a lot of mergers and acquisitions are happening. Means companies are taking over another company, they become bigger. If they find synergy, instead of launching newer and newer companies, there's more of consolidation which is happening. And that's why we see almost 50 acquisitions happening globally every 5 years. Not much is invested today into the innovation in veterinary, because that's a challenge for us, because globally we are $32 billion, but in India also we are almost 3 to 4% of the pharma industry, and large percentage of the research happening in the human area. Very less is happening in the animal health area, and we see over a period of time there is a drop of 1 or 2% in terms of total R&D spending on the new molecular entities. India is the 12th largest in the world in terms of value, but 5th largest in terms of volume. What does that mean? That we produce one of the cheapest medicines in the world. Though our consumption is the 5th largest in terms of volume, the value-wise we are 12th. That means our per dose cost is much lower as compared to the rest of the world. Here also we have around 50 major companies which are controlling almost 80% of the share, though there are hundreds of regional and the local companies in the animal health sector. But this is expected to grow, obviously, because of the reasons I've just explained, that the type of the potential what we see in the dairy sector as well as in the poultry sector. So now let me compare these two circles. So if you look at the upper circle, companion animals are contributing 36% to the total animal health services, 36%. So people are spending more on their pets, on dogs. And during my one research project in US, actually, I remember from your college, many people have already gone in the past to Canada and those countries and all, and many of them have their licenses, and they are doing good practice both in Canada and US, and they will tell you more, because many practices I have visited, there, that how much engaged these people remain for the small animals. So 36% is the contribution, and US alone is investing almost more than $55 billion on the animal, pet care. And if you look at the total industry in terms of pet food and other things, even could touch $100 billion. Against 36% of the globe's, share of companion animal, ours is only 8%. So do you understand now, so this is one segment which would grow much faster, which was not happening. I told you that how we used to select a dog and how the things have changed, how the, the best of the breeds have come to India. And this sector is bound to grow because of the social makeup, because families are becoming smaller and smaller. There are security needs, there are emotional needs, right? And a dog or the cat is a wonderful animal. In India, actually, it is driven by cattle, which is 53%. So globally, it's a companion animal, 36%. In India, it is cattle, which is 53%. But if you look at the rest of the world, cattle contributes around 25%, followed by poultry, which is 16%. Now, piggery is another area globally, which contributes around 19%. And in our country, it just comes as the others. And the others. Only the Northeast we find people have been investing. But whenever I go to different seminars and all, I find when they talk about the major businesses, they talk generally about poultry and the piggery. And these are the two areas which have been contributing a lot. So this is the difference between how the global market behaves and how is the Indian markets. So I foresee a lot of scope for the companion animals also in the time to come. So what would be the growth drivers for the India's animal healthcare industry? One is there is a population growth and there is an increased demand for the animal proteins. And that's a basic thing, Then there is a rising disposable income of middle class and urbanization. When you have more money, you would spend more on the good food, right? You would get interested into keeping your pets also because then you can afford. And that's my third point, increased interest in the keeping the pets. The fourth is the productivity improvement. Having more number of animals is not sufficient. We need to have more productive animals. And if you have to have the productive animals, a lot of breed improvement programs need to be carried out. Whether it's through embryo transplantation or through crossbreeding programs, because elimination is not possible. We all know that for certain animals, we are very sensitive and that elimination is not possible. And slowly people are changing their preferences also to the value-added products. How many has had known about pizzas and other thing? Maybe most of you must have been born in the last 2 decades only. So for you, it's a very normal thing. But I remember long ago when even the Maggie was introduced in India, it was a new thing for Indian market because noodles were not very popular those days. And now we have moved to the Italian food. We have moved to the many other burgers and other things. And all the global brands have come to India. And obviously, as the parents are becoming more and more conscious about the protein intake, they would also be more interested in spending on the value-added products. And that's how the consumption of milk or the meat products would increase. People have understood that there is a need for the scientific farming, and scientific farming alone is not sufficient. It should have the very strong commercial initiatives because they must make money out of this. The farmer is not supposed to produce it because people need it. He is supposed to produce because he can also earn his livelihood. He can also support his families, and he must be one of the good earning part of the society. And that's going to happen if scientific farming is done. His commercial interests are taken care of, and that can be taken care of when you invest more into the value-added products. And the creation of this new ministry, it's a first step in understanding or acknowledging that we don't have a future for the rural economy unless we build our livestock services. So that's how the government is pushing for the productivity to improve the farmers' earning. But we do have certain challenges. As I explained, there is a low productivity of animals. We have large number of animals, but they are largely low producing animals. There is a scarcity of feed and fodder, and the government is already working towards it, how to increase the area. We find many emerging and re-emerging diseases. Like you might have heard about, the many years ago, about 10 years ago, we had the first outbreak of the bird flu in the country. So we had to, eliminate the whole flock. It started from the northeast, but it impacted the whole country. But today we have a much better knowledge that if there is an outbreak, how to contain that outbreak in that particular area only. We are also having one outbreak especially for the livestock in certain state, which is happening. It's a viral disease, especially in the Maharashtra, down south, Tamil Nadu and all, and which is also creating a problem. But these type of outbreaks we might have to face because of new emerging and re-emerging diseases. And another challenge we have that because we deal with the, perishable commodities. You might have seen when the pandemic started, and some people, some vested interests propagated the idea that, by eating eggs or the poultry products, it would help the spread of COVID, and people stopped eating. So what happened? We had a large poultry population. People stopped eating eggs, people stopped eating chicken, and the farmers cannot keep the birds at the farm for a longer time, because every day they keep it on the farm, they have to add to the cost. So they had to either sell off the product at much losses, or simply destroy the stock. And this impacted the industry like anything. Same thing sometimes happen for the milk products also, when the farmer is not getting the remunerative prices. And obviously everything is linked with the demand and supply. And once we get more into the value-added products, and I think such things can be taken care of. We need to create marketing infrastructure to support animal food products. There is also a concern for the, antimicrobial residues. When we use different type of antibiotics in the feed or treatment. So once we have a good diagnostic facilities, we shall be using only the type of the antibiotics we think we need to use, because there is an AMR concerns considering the residues in animal products, milk, meat, or otherwise. And there is also a limited availability of skilled manpower. We don't have enough people. If you look at the diagnostic today, I come across many time requirement of the people for the diagnostics. Very less number of people are available. So these are the areas which can definitely be explored as we look for building careers in animal health industry. So what are the career opportunities? I understand you have multiple options. You can get a government job, you can get into academics, or you can get into research, you can get into the defense services, or you can do your own private practice, or you do some consultancy. There are banks and insurance also, they keep the veterinarians. But today I'm going to speak more about the private sectors, and within private sector also the pharmaceuticals per se. So when you look at the private sector job for the veterinarians, we need veterinarians for pharmaceutical industry. We need veterinarians for the diagnostic industry. We need veterinarians for the contract research services. We also need veterinarians for the animal feeds. And obviously they can also get into their own private consultancies and the practices. So when you come to the animal health industry, these are the 5 areas I look at where different veterinarians or people and veterinarians with a different interest can join. The first area is the sales area, which involves sales, export, and the general management. Now, normally these are the people, when about 20-25 years before, I could find many veterinarians used to join pharmaceutical industry as a frontline executives. But today I don't see that type of enthusiasm. Then we started looking for science graduates. Then when the science graduates were also not available, because today there are less science graduates, and they get admission easily in the professional college. You can become an engineer. Why to become a pure science graduate guy? So he becomes an engineer. And you would be surprised, some of my veterinary representatives are engineers. When the first engineer approached me, I was surprised that what would you do here? It's a very different line. But since he was very passionate, and I said twice or thrice no to him, and eventually I selected him, and he's doing a very good job. Then more number of engineers also joined, and they told me that they are getting much better remuneration in this industry and satisfaction than they would have got in some engineering industry. So it's not only veterinarian, even the engineers today, they join this profession. So if there is a veterinarian, obviously there is an advantage, because you know the science, you are going to speak to the veterinarians only, you would understand the products better, you have to introduce detail, explain the science behind the product. You can be the frontline executives. And if you do well in that, the next line is the first line manager. Almost 5 or 6 veterinary sales executive make one team, and there is a team head. We call it regional manager. And on around 3 to 4 regional manager, we have a second line manager who's a divisional manager. And from the divisional manager, he can become a national sales manager or a business head. And we also have veterinarians, those who have been working in our export section, because the good part is that not only they understand commercial, they also understand veterinary. So you don't have to send 2 different type of people, one for veterinary seminars and other one for the commercial. So the same guy can go, he talks about commercial terms, and he can also discuss science also. So this is one such area, but this area is reserved for the people those who are very, extrovert, and they love traveling. Somebody who says, I want a table job, I don't want to travel. So this is not an area for that. The people those who love traveling, they are prepared to go places, and there is nothing like there is a time frame for your promotion, that after 3 years you would become this, or 5 years. If you are good, you can reach to some very significant level within 4 years or 5 years also. But some people might retire at the same position. That's a different thing, So it all depends upon, do you have a liking for this profession? Don't join it if you think that just to do a job. No. If you want to build this as a profession, yes, this is a very good line. Another good line is a product management. Many times you might have seen different, the veterinary sales executive, they go to the veterinarians, they explain a folder, they talk about the products. A lot of work goes behind that, making those visual aids and all. And the literature, what you read, there is a team which works behind all this. Because we are in a pharmaceutical industry, we are not supposed to advertise on the TVs or in the print medium. Only way for us to promote our products is through the, the personal context. And we use those visual aids or the leave behinds. And this team, it works for managing the product life cycle. It thinks about launching the new products, that how the new products need to be launched. What type of needs are there in the market? What type of the priorities veterinarians have in the field? What type of challenges veterinarians have been facing in the field? So they are not into the sales line, but they are into building a whole promotional strategy for the salespeople. And this is what we call as a product management team. There are many product managers. We have those who are veterinarians, and they are also MBAs also. Basically the preference is, if you are a BVSC and a MBA, the preference is more for the product management. But doesn't mean if you are only a veterinarian, but you have a sufficient good experience in the field, and you have a good communication skills and the written skills, and you have a creative bent of mind, you can fit into this area also, the product management. It starts with the product executive, then you have deputy product manager, senior product manager, group product managers, and eventually you can even start handling the business also. Then one area is a technical area. Now these people purely work around conducting trials. They make dossiers for our export team. They make dossiers for filing products for the DCGI's approval in India. They train the field staff on the technical, areas, nitty-gritties of technical areas. So they are like your teachers, those who teach science to the people. Even we have to, people at our level also need to sometimes brush up our knowledge, technical knowledge. So this is the team which help us to brush up our knowledge also. There is another team which works around the regulatory. Every drug has to get certain approvals, and to get those approvals, lot of technical data needs to be submitted to the government. If you have to import a product also, you need lot of information to be submitted to the government. And if they have certain queries, you need to answer those queries. So they prepare dossiers also for that. They also conceive ideas about the new products, what new products can be introduced into this. And this is also the team which work with the industry teams for the harmonization of the regulatory requirements. So that, this is what we are working today in the industry. I have been a president for Indian Federation of Animal Health Companies. And as Dr. Simrit told, I'm also the chairman for the therapeutic subcommittee. So we work around harmonization so that we have one of the best regulatory practices in India, which are followed even in the developed countries. Many times people feel that, it's in India, so in India, kuch bhi chalta hai. No, sorry. We follow the same standards which are followed by some of the leading nations. And wherever we have a gap, we are bridging those gaps. We want to be at par with the best in the world. And obviously, there is a team which works around building those regulatory requirements. Then there is some people get into, I think there is some disturbance. Okay. There are some veterinarians we have, and mostly we have seen in our vaccine manufacturing area, where a lot of veterinarians, they work for the quality control. They look into the quality aspects of vaccines. So if you look at the animal healthcare industry, it's not purely sales line. It's many things. You can get into the sales, you can get into export, you can get into product management, you can get into technical, you can get into regulatory, you can get into manufacturing. But to get into a position of significance, you'll have to build up, your competencies, capabilities. You'll have to take up experience. So you'll have to start from somewhere, and based upon your likings, based upon your competence, you can be moved into the area where you have more interest. We have a large R&D center, and in the R&D center also we have seen, we have many veterinarians in our own R&D center, and of course they don't work for veterinary drugs. They work for the human drugs actually, but they work around, they are from pharmacology, pathology, genetics, medicine. They work around the chemistry, cell biology. They maintain the animal house where the efficacy of the drugs is tested. Toxicity studies are carried out. Preclinical and the clinical studies are carried out. We have a large animal house which is managed by a veterinarian from Anand Veterinary College. He is a PhD from there. So he has his own team, and these are very, very important studies because, a lot of your approvals are dependent upon that. And please understand, for the new drugs, a lot of money get invested. One small mistake during research means your whole money would get wasted. Today, you might have heard, that some of the Indian companies are also working on the COVID vaccines. My company is also one of them, and we hope maybe the next year we would be able to see the vaccine from Zydus as well. But we are also having a vaccine research center where the vaccine research is happening on new diseases like even for malaria, we don't have a vaccine today as of now. Like, so that for all those diseases, we were the first in the country to have the vaccine for the swine flu. When we had the first outbreak of the swine flu in the country, we did not have the vaccine. So these are the veterinarians, those who work in those areas, and they support their activities on basic research on the new molecular entities and the vaccine technologies. So I don't need to explain this. They are into the animal breeding and the care facility. What do they do? They supervise breeding, care, and maintenance of the animal used in the drug testing. If you happen to come to sometime to Ahmedabad, I will take you to our animal care center. Believe me, sometimes you would feel that they enjoy far more facilities than many of the human beings. They have their own TVs, they have their own recreational areas for monkeys and other people. They have their music system, and they have to be happy, because a lot of care needs to be taken for your research animals also. A lot of audit happens that whether you are taking care of them properly or not. Then in toxicology and for the new drug formulation, they carry out the toxicological studies, the preclinical trials on the new chemicals and biological entities or vaccines and the formulations. In the pharmacology, like they do the in vitro or in vivo pharmacodynamics studies, animal model development, mechanism of action studies on the new and the existing drugs. So there is but to get into the R&D center, obviously you need to be at least minimum postgraduate. You have to be postgraduate in a respective discipline to get into this. This area is not for the fresh graduates. It's more to, and if you do better in that, maybe you can be the section head doing some more contribution. So again, the biotech research is also happening. There also we find veterinarians, in the vaccine research. I have already shared about it. Then there are CROs, that they don't have the full-fledged facilities, but there are contract research organizations. They only help you to carry out the drug trials, especially the clinical and the preclinical trials. So there also a lot of veterinarians get absorbed. So these are the areas, if you look at, the veterinarians in the animal health industry, you would find that animal veterinarians are involved in almost everywhere. There are veterinarians, those who are also taking care of the pharma companies also. That's a different thing. They did their veterinary, then did MBA, they moved to pharma. But today, what I have shared it with you, not something that you get out of your veterinary field. I'm saying, while staying in your veterinary field, this is what you can do. But nevertheless, even if you move to the pharma also, your knowledge base definitely would be much better than your science counterpart. The basic science counterpart, because many things you have studied which those people might not have studied. So this is what I thought is, are the opportunities for our veterinarians in the animal health industry and otherwise. And let me tell you, dear friends, that you have a tremendous potential. So never get disheartened. Sometimes there is always a gap between the graduation and getting the first break, and then sometimes it happens. So don't worry about that, because this is one profession, and I would say that this is perhaps today is one of the best professions in the country when you look at all the other professional courses. Before I end up, I would also like to introduce you briefly about the organization where I work. This is my corporate office at Ahmedabad where I sit. This company was started around 67 years before. And if you look at, we are a well-integrated pharma player. We have 68 years of operational experience. Our total global revenue as of now is almost touching now $2 billion. We have recently launched a novel biologic for rabies prophylaxis exposure also. There's a new novel biological we have introduced for the human use. Our market capitalization is around $5.32 billion. We have 37 manufacturing sites. There are 37 places where we get our products manufactured. And we are the fourth largest generic company in the US in terms of prescription. So that should be a matter of pride for all of you, because we are basically an Indian company, and we are the fourth largest in US today in terms of generics. In India, we are number 5, and around 13 of our brands are amongst the top 300 brands in India. There are 25,000 people, they work in Zydus. And out of these 25,000 people, 1,400 are in the R&Ds. And we have 8 R&D centers. And these R&D centers, they work on new chemical entities, on APIs, generic formulations, biosimilars, and the vaccines. And we are the first Indian company to discover and develop new chemical entities in the house, lipaglyn or saroglitazar. Saroglitazar is one such drug which treats diabetes and dyslipidemia together. For diabetes and dyslipidemia, we used to have the different drugs. This is the world's first drug which treat both these things together. We are also the first company in the country to launch a biosimilar of adalimumab. Now, this adalimumab is the one which treat rheumatoid arthritis. So these are the two molecules we have the world's first enemies and biosimilar in the world. We have 21 biosimilars in the pipeline at this point of time. So a lot of research is happening, and we have more than 650 patents application worldwide. We are also the first such company to get an approval for anywhere in the world for the treatment of NASH. The hepatitis, which is non-alcoholic hepatitis, for the treatment of this saroglitazar now has been approved. This is the first such approval in the world. So if you look at our core businesses, we are into APIs, we are into the international finished formulation, which we sell across the globe. We are into R&D, we are into consumer products, wellness. Sugar-free is one brand I think you must be all conversant with. This is our brand. We are also into the India finished formulation. We are into manufacturing. We are into animal health, and also we are into diagnostics. I think you must have read somewhere, when the hydroxychloroquine was asked for, that they say the hydroxychloroquine can be very effective, and President Trump also advocated the use of hydroxychloroquine. We were one of the largest producer of hydroxychloroquine in the country. We have exported. Then we are the largest of dexamethasone also. The steroid which is now used, they say it helps in treating COVID. So we are wherever there is a problem, even for Corona also, we have been working around that. We have also started producing remdesivir, and we have been not only supplying in the country, we are also exporting to the other countries also. Remdesivir is a very, very important drug as an antiviral. And also we are working on the COVID vaccine. And if everything goes well, maybe in the first half of 2021, we should be able to launch it. We have 25,000 people. We work. I don't want to explain you where all we are, just to give you an idea that we are spread all over the globe. These are the different locations we have our facilities. On the right top, if you look at Haridwar, we have our animal health plant, which exclusively produce veterinary drugs. We also have a probiotic plant in Ahmedabad. We were the first in the country to make probiotics in the animal health sector. This plant we had started in somewhere in 97. We were the first. And I believe there is a huge potential for probiotics in India, especially for the poultry care. So we are an innovation-driven company. We have 300 plus generic products registration across USA, Europe, and emerging markets. This is our Zydus Research Center. So if you visit this Zydus Research Center, you would feel as if you are into some of the best research centers in the world. And there are around 1,400 scientists that work here. We have 20 active discovery programs which are going on. We have 5 niche therapeutic areas, including biosimilars, transdermals, vaccines, pulmonary, and oncology. So this is the center where we do all this type of research. As far as animal health is concerned, you know that we are a fully owned subsidiary of Zydus Cadila, and we are the only company, animal health company in the country, which has got its own plant, which is WHO GMP compliant plant. We have already cleared our accreditation from Saudi Arabia and other countries. Zydus Animal Health is the only company, not only in India but in the world, which has earned the prize for being the best company in India, Africa, and Middle East in 2015, 2016, and then repeated in 2018. So, no company has ever won this award twice, and we have won it 3 times. Backed by the strong R&D what we have of 400 scientists, we have launched highest number of first to the market products in the veterinary industry today. So in terms of new molecular introductions, we are miles ahead of any of the other company in India. We have our alliance with Fibro, and Fibro has a plant in Israel, and we market their poultry vaccines in India. We have a leadership position in many areas in antibacterial, NSAIDs, and anti-mastitis, tonics, and poultry vaccine. And those are those who have started using practice. Some of our popular brands you already know: diclofenac, Bellamil, Pendestrin, Sticlin, Oxalgin. So all these are the very popular brands, which are already there in the market for the long time. We have around a team of 900 people working in the field. And not only we have won the international award, many national awards we have also won for being the best poultry and animal health company in India awards. We won it in 2010, 14, 15, 16. And recently we have been awarded as the best dairy company in India. That happened in January this year only. We got this award. So this is something to do with Zydus Animal Health. So our mission is dedicated to life in all its dimension. Our world is shaped by passion for innovation, commitment to partners, and concern for people in an effort to create healthier communities globally. And in animal health, we say healthier animals, healthier India. And our vision is that we shall be a leading global healthcare provider with a robust product pipeline, opening up new pathways through innovation and quality excellence. We need to be known as a research-based organization. Of course, in terms of our ranking in the sales, we are improving our ranks every year. But more than the turnover, we would like to be known as a research-driven organization. So this is what the vision of our promoters is. So thank you very much. Thanks for your attention. Now I can, if you have any questions and all, then I can.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Atrey, for a very exhaustive and thought-provoking webinar. And just one question I have got: any suggestions for veterinary course curriculum? Like
Yes.
our course curriculum, it is made by maybe the Veterinary Council of India, and it has got a lot of theoretical aspect and very less of practical aspect. So any suggestions you have?
Dr. Simrat, I think it's a very, very important question. In fact, today morning only I was talking to some of the very senior veterinarians, actually, those who have been connected with different industries. We have MBA for agriculture MBA.
Mm-hmm.
Why can't we have an MBA for veterinarians?
Exactly.
A veterinarian has to take care of, if you have to build your dairy industry in India, if you have to build your poultry industry in India, if you have to build your meat industry in India, veterinarians can be the best fit. But they should not be limited to the treatment or the quality control. Mm-hmm. They should be driving everything. They should be driving the commercial area also, because they understand that if my productivity is better, the cost of feeding is low, then what is the cost of production? And what best price I can get it for the farmer. So I believe there could be some good courses for veterinarians exclusively to run these industries. Today, if you look at poultry industry also, there is not much trained people. They join the industry and then they pick up those skills. So there are MBA for the rural courses like agro courses for the seed or pesticide or others. Why can't we have some course, an MBA for animal health, MBA for building animal produce industries, maybe the dairy, poultry, or the similar type of industries. So I think this is what is possible. I think we need to debate more on this, get more of inputs from the industry, and this is what we can do.
Yeah, if an IT or if a computer engineer could become, he could enter into animal health market, then a veterinarian, as you said very rightly, if you have got a veterinary specific animal health specific, management, some college like some curriculum like that, that will really help. Now, one more, Devya Kiran, she has a question. Devya, are you there?
Before I get another question, Simrit, let me also add to this. See, the word is very ruthless.
Yeah.
It's not fair. If you are able to earn more for your industry or section, you are treated better. Why you say that IT guy can get more? Because he is adding values. Out of those values, his promoters and they can earn more.
Yeah.
So if I am in the control of my industry, so my job is not limited to my treatment, which anyone can do. So if I am also taking care of the business aspect of it, I can add more value. If I can add more value, I deserve more remunerative prices. There's no harm in earning more money. Money is not a bad thing. So there is a definite, as you said, that why the IT guys, they get more because they add values. And out of this adding value, they can earn better. So the veterinarians can also get into the same mode and they can do both the things. They can take care of the health and they can take care of the health of the business they are in.
Thank you, Dr. Atrey. Devya, are you there? She wanted to ask a question.
Sure. You can unmute all. Ask. You can unmute all.
Sorry, sir. It was just by mistake.
Okay. So it was just by mistake. Okay. So anything you want to, anybody wants to ask any questions? Dr. Atrey is a very senior level as pharma executive, and you have seen he has combined his veterinary skills with management skills at a time almost 40 years back when nobody could even think. So even before his lecture started, I got an inspiration. Yeah, think out of box, chase your dreams, and you should see in yourself potential which nobody else can see. Okay. So we'll be happy to take any questions if you have any. Yeah, what's your opinion about? Yeah, there was a question from Simran in chat. Yeah, what's your opinion about future of pharma industry as we are seeing hype in vaccine and immunological ways of treatment and prophylaxis? Whether you see COVID or some previous webinar, I have attended, are giving more importance to vaccine over therapeutics in parasitic disease. So my question is that, is this trend evident in commercial space at present? He's asking question that whether they are giving more importance to vaccinology than therapeutics in livestock side or still in R&D stage. If yes, what could be future for vets and pharma company owners at small scale who can't afford such setups for vaccine manufacturing? So he means to say everybody's talking about vaccines and COVID and this and that, and less emphasis there on therapeutics. So if there is small pharma company owner, so what's the future for him? So because he cannot set up such a vaccine manufacturing. So I hope, yeah. So Dr. Atrey, please.
Let me answer this. Let me attempt to answer this question.
Okay.
First of all, I think therapeutic is not going to go away because predominantly it's the therapeutic which is taking care of the health, whether it's human beings or animals. Now, there are certain critical viral diseases and all where, vaccines always help because they have to be preventive, because once there is an outbreak, sometimes you are able to treat them, sometimes you are able to not, but the cost of the treatment is more. Oh, I think I'd lost the contact.
No, we have got you. Yeah.
Okay. So I don't know where you lost the contact, but therapeutic is equally important, first of all, and vaccine has got its own importance. But vaccine is have a very long gestation period. Please understand. And vaccine is basically to eradicate a disease which has become endemic or a pandemic. But on individual basis, it is a therapeutic which is going to rule. So both will have their own importance. So there is nothing like, because we are facing this problem of COVID and there is no drug available, though companies are still working on certain molecules also, that whether any treatment could be far more effective. Of course, we have got favipiravir, then remdesivir. We have been working on that, and to some extent we have been able to contain it, but not fully. And we feel that if we are able to produce a vaccine which is effective, and it has damaged the whole world, so obviously vaccine can only be the answer to this, and therefore the whole focus of the world has shifted to vaccine. Number one. Number two, small organizations cannot think of building a facility for vaccine. Please understand, to make a vaccine plant is not easy. It's a high capex, in terms of the capital investment is very, very high, right? So obviously, if somebody does not have the capital, somebody does not have the resources, I don't think this is an area for them, because its compliance is very high, and therefore, and investment is also very, very high. So for a small, I don't understand what do you mean by small, but if you don't have the resources to support that, I don't think somebody should be entering into that. But if you want to build a career out of this, as an employee and not an entrepreneur, then obviously if you have interest in biotechnology and microbiology and all those areas, then obviously you can always work towards it, and you can join some vaccine company.
Thank you, Dr. Atrey. What I could get is that therapeutics is going to stay forever, in addition to vaccinology. And
Absolutely.
One more question is there. How you see relevance of MBA in agribusiness? Where was that? Where? Okay. How you see the relevance of MBA in agribusiness management these days, as most of people are diverting to PG course, PGDM courses, PG diploma course, or some other private coaching firms, or for classical MBA programs. So the question is not very clear, actually.
Okay, I think I have understood, maybe if I have rightly understood it. Should you be going for a regular MBA, proper MBA course, or you should be joining some, online course or something like that? See, MBA is one such line, though all, functions are equally important. If you have done a veterinary, BVSc degree is not sufficient if you have not picked up a knowledge. So first of all, if you're doing a degree, you must make sure that you learn also, the sciences. Same way in MBA degree per se is not going to help much. But if you have used that knowledge properly, you have understood that knowledge, and there is always an importance of a good institute. In a good institute, you have a good faculty, and there is a lot of, the methodology is generally case studies. A lot of stimulus is given to your analytical abilities.
Okay.
And there is much better interaction. Your communication skills, your understanding, your knowing from the failures of the different companies and all. A lot of debates happen. But when you do some online or small course where your objective is only to pick up a degree, then this type of knowledge you would never gain. So this degree is of no use. So to me, this degree can only help you to write in your CV if you have not picked up the knowledge. But
Okay.
please understand, I'm not saying that without MBA you cannot do this. Even without MBA also, many people have done exceedingly well. So they are born managers. They pick up the things very fast. But the good part in MBA is you get exposed to production, you get exposed to finance, you get exposed to HR, you get exposed to logistics, you get exposed to materials, you again get exposed to statistical models, which help you in taking a decision as you move up in the ladder. Today, if I had to run this company, if I would have been only pure a veterinarian, maybe it would have been very difficult for me to run. There are a lot many other compliances in the other business areas where you need to have a financial acumen. You need to, if I'm running a plant, some proposal come to me. If I don't understand the plant operations, how would I understand whether it is a right proposal or a wrong proposal, or how can I help them to improve efficiencies and all? So I think that knowledge is important. I'm not saying that if you do not have this degree, you cannot enter. I'm saying even with certain common sense, and I have seen people without any formal MBA degree also, they have done very well. But they are exceptions, and exceptions are never rules, So degrees definitely do a course if you want to pick up a knowledge.
Okay. Another question, Dr. Atrey, if you have to hire a vet, which one will you prefer? MBA Agro Business Management or a general MBA?
No, we are open for that. We would like to see the candidate, how creative he is, how positive he is, what type of achievements he's able to show us, in terms of whether when he was a student or all, when you are starting only, Of course, if he's an experience, we would be able to know what he has contributed. So there is, we are not biased towards that, whether you have to be an agro, management degree, or you have a plain MBA. I'm a plain MBA. I'm not from agro, right? I worked in consumer products. In fact, my next job was in a precision needle company, which I didn't join, but the question is that it doesn't matter, that you have to have from the agro management, but sometimes it does help that they teach you some skills which are important for promotion in the rural area, rural promotion skills. Some of such courses they do support, like even in IIM Ahmedabad also we have two streams, the mainstream and also the agro stream. So I don't think either of this is a handicap.
So as far as I can understand, Dr. Atrey means to say that getting degree from an important institute, which has got some practical, which gives importance to some practical aspects of the business administration, is more important than getting just a plain degree. So one last question, Dr. Atrey. Since there is no specific discipline for veterinary or animal sciences in MBA, which MBA discipline would you, that's repetition, I think, which would you prefer for a vet? To aid our technical knowledge? I think he has already answered that question. So any more questions, guys? So the point is getting a degree from an institute which gives more stress to practical part of the course curriculum, like as he was telling before, going into the field and making all the reports. That is more important than simply getting a degree from an ordinary institute. So, Dr. Atrey, you are among the top 6 in the US. I'm sorry, top 4 in the US, right?
Yeah, but that's for the human pharma generics. Not in veterinary, but we are in human pharma.
So, what are your main products in human practice? What are your main products in the US?
Oh, we have almost 300-400 products there.
Oh, okay. Major categories.
And just one more point. We have recently put up a plant which would be US FDA approved plant for our animal health products in the US. So we shall be launching in the next 2 years animal health products also in the US.
So what are the main categories of the human products in US?
We are into all. We are into all. We are into like oncology. We are into antibacterial. We are into lifestyle diseases.
Okay. Well, thank you, Dr. Atrey, for your time and for enlightening us. I think it was a very invigorating talk, and I hope to see you sometimes. And we hope to host more webinars with people like you. Thank you very much for your time and for your effort, Dr. Atrey. Thank you very
Thanks,
much. And
Dr.
one thing
Simrat.
more, yeah, one thing more, Dr. Atrey did not take any honorarium from us. Thanks again for that.
For me, talking to the students of PHU is like I'm talking to my own family members. You know,
Yeah.
being from Moga myself, you know, though I moved moved from 1976 onward, I have never stayed there, but you know, it's like my own people, you know.
Okay.
And
Thank you.
it's always a pleasure talking to the students anytime.
Thank you, Dr. Atrey. I'll see you sometimes. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Sim. Thank you. Thanks
Thank
a lot.
Thanks.